There's a moment when you realize someone you love has been stealing from you. Not all at once. Not with a gun or a threat. Just slowly, quietly, with paperwork and kind words and a smile that says, "I'm only helping." For me, that moment came over a bowl of tomato soup. Hello. My name is Eleanor Whitmore. I'm 72 years old, and I live in Ashford, Pennsylvania. Or rather, I used to live there. In a small apartment behind my daughter's house. What they call a granny flat. I thought it was temporary when I moved in. That was 3 years ago. This is the story of how I almost disappeared. Not physically, legally, financially. The kind of disappearing where you're still breathing, still eating breakfast, still watching the morning news. But someone else is holding the pen that writes your life. I need to tell you what happened. Because maybe you'll recognize something. Maybe you're living it right now. And maybe, like me, you'll realize it before it's too late. I wasn't always this suspicious. Tom and I were married for 46 years. We raised 2 daughters in a 3-bedroom colonial on Maple Drive. He sold insurance. I worked part-time at the library until the girls went to college. We saved carefully. We took one big trip a year. We had a retirement plan that made sense on paper. Tom died on a Tuesday morning in March. Heart attack. He was carrying groceries from the car to the house. He set down the bags. He sat on the porch step. And he was gone before I could reach him. The months after that are blurry. People came. People brought casseroles. People said words I don't remember. My younger daughter, Rachel, lives in Oregon. She came for the funeral and stayed a week. My older daughter, Jennifer, lives 15 minutes away. She came every day. Jennifer has always been the responsible one. She's a project manager at a tech company. Her husband, Mark, works in finance. They have a big house with granite countertops and a 3-car garage. They have one daughter, Emma, 17 years old, quiet, smart. Jennifer organized the funeral. She handled the calls. She sorted through Tom's papers while I sat on the couch and stared at the wall. I was grateful. I told her so. She hugged me and said, "Mom, that's what family does." 2 months later, she suggested I move into the apartment behind their house. "You shouldn't be alone right now," she said. "You don't have to cook. You don't have to worry about yard work. We're right here if you need anything." It made sense. The house on Maple Drive felt too big. Too quiet. Too full of Tom's things and Tom's smell and the space where Tom used to be. So I packed what I could fit. I sold the rest. And I moved into 400 square feet behind my daughter's perfect house. At first, it felt safe. Jennifer brought me dinner 3 times a week. She took me to doctor's appointments. She helped me set up online banking because I'd never done it before. Tom had always handled the finances. I signed where she told me to sign. I gave her access to the accounts because it seemed easier. Because I trusted her. Because she was my daughter. "You don't need to worry about this stuff, Mom," she said. "I'll take care of it." And I believed her. The apartment is small but clean. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, a kitchenette with a 2-burner stove I rarely use. A living room with a window that looks out at Jennifer's backyard. I can see their deck. Their grill. The trampoline Emma used to play on when she was younger. I have a routine now. I wake up at 6:30. I make coffee. I read the newspaper Jennifer brings over every morning. I watch the birds at the feeder mark installed outside my window. I take a walk around the neighborhood if my knee isn't hurting. I eat lunch. I watch television. I wait. That's the word that describes my life now. Waiting. For what, I'm not sure. Jennifer checks on me every day. Sometimes twice. She asks if I need anything. She reminds me to take my pills. She tells me about her meetings, her stress, the contractors who are redoing their kitchen. Again, she talks a lot. I mostly listen. Emma used to visit more. She'd knock on the door and sit with me for an hour. We'd play cards or watch old movies. She'd tell me about school and her friends and the things she was reading. But lately, she's been busier. Or maybe she's been told to stay busy. I'm not sure which. I don't see Rachel much. Oregon is far. We talk on the phone every few weeks. She asks how I'm doing. I say I'm fine. She says she'll visit soon. She hasn't yet. So it's mostly Jennifer. And her questions. And her kindness that sometimes feels a little too tight. It was a Thursday in October when everything started to crack. Jennifer invited me to lunch. Not at the house. At a restaurant downtown. An Italian place with red checkered tablecloths and candles in wine bottles. She was in a good mood. She ordered a glass of wine. She talked about a promotion she might get. She asked if I wanted dessert. I ordered soup. Tomato basil. It came in a white bowl with a swirl of cream on top. Jennifer had a salad she barely touched. You know, Mom, she said, stirring her iced tea, Mark and I have been talking about the future. I nodded. I dipped my spoon into the soup. We think it's time to start planning. You know, for when you're not here anymore. I looked up. She smiled. Soft. Reassuring. Not that we're expecting anything soon, she added quickly. But it's smart to think ahead. To make sure everything's organized. So there's no confusion later. I put down my spoon. What do you mean, when I'm not here? She laughed. A light, breezy sound. I just mean eventually, Mom. We all go eventually. And when you do, you won't need money in heaven, right? So we want to make sure everything's set up properly. For Emma. For the family. She said it so casually. Like she was talking about the weather. You won't need money in heaven. I smiled. I nodded. I picked up my spoon again. But something cold slid down the back of my neck. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her voice. You won't need money in heaven. Why would she say that? Why would she say it like that? I got out of bed. I turned on the lamp. I thought about calling Rachel. But it was late. And what would I even say? Your sister made a weird comment at lunch and now I'm paranoid? I sat at the small table in the kitchenette. I stared at the wall. Tom used to say I worried too much. He was probably right. But Tom also used to check the bank statements every month. He used to keep folders. He used to write things down. I hadn't checked anything in 3 years. I didn't even know the password to the online banking anymore. Jennifer had changed it. For security, she said. I found Tom's old laptop in the closet. The one Jennifer said I didn't need anymore. I opened it. The screen glowed. I stared at the keyboard. It took me 20 minutes to remember the password. It was Emma's birthday. Tom always used Emma's birthday. I logged into the bank. And I started scrolling. At first, I didn't understand what I was looking at. Numbers. Dates. Transactions. Transfers. Words like wire, and investment account, and home improvement. But the more I looked, the more I saw. $5,000. Gone. 2 months ago. 8,000. Last month. 12,000. 3 weeks ago. All of it labeled with neat little notes. Kitchen remodel. WCL fund. HVAC replacement. I didn't remember approving any of that. I didn't remember any of it. My hands were shaking. I scrolled back further. 6 months. A year. 2 years. The numbers blurred together. Tens of thousands. Maybe more. I closed the laptop. I sat in the dark. And I realized something I should have known a long time ago. Jennifer wasn't helping me. She was erasing me. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the table with Tom's laptop open in front of me. I went through every transaction. Every month. Every year since Tom died. I wrote things down on a notepad. Amounts. Dates. Who authorized what. By sunrise, I had 3 pages of notes. And a pit in my stomach that wouldn't go away. I waited until 9 o'clock to call the bank. My hands were shaking when I dialed. I'd rehearsed what I was going to say. I wanted to sound calm. Rational. Not like a confused old woman who couldn't keep track of her own money. The phone rang 4 times. First National Bank, this is Derek speaking. How can I help you today? Hello, I said. My name is Eleanor Whitmore. I'm calling about my checking account. Sure thing, Mrs. Whitmore. Can I get your account number? I read it off the screen. Great. And for security purposes, can you verify your date of birth and the last 4 digits of your social security number? I did. There was typing on the other end. Then a pause. Okay, I've got your account pulled up. What can I do for you? I took a breath. I'm looking at some recent transactions, I said. Large withdrawals. I don't remember authorizing them. I'd like to know who approved them. More typing. Let me take a look here, Derek said. His voice was pleasant. Professional. Like he did this every day. Can you tell me which transactions you're referring to? October 3rd. $12,000. Okay, yes. I see that one. That was a wire transfer to WCL Investment Group. Authorized by Jennifer Connors. My daughter's married name. And September 15th, I said. 8,000. That was a check written to Prestige Home Contractors. Also authorized by Mrs. Connors. How is she able to do that? I asked. It's my account. Derek paused. Well, according to our records, Mrs. Connors has joint access to your accounts. She was added as an authorized user in June of 2022. That gives her full transaction privileges. June 2022. 4 months after Tom died. I see, I said. Is there a problem with these transactions, ma'am? No, I lied. I just wanted to confirm. Thank you. Of course. Is there anything else I can help you with today? No, that's all. I hung up. I sat there for a long time. Joint access. Full transaction privileges. I'd signed something. I knew I had. Jennifer had brought papers to the apartment. She'd said it was easier this way. So she could help with bills. So I wouldn't have to worry. I'd trusted her. What a fool I'd been. I needed to talk to someone. Not Jennifer. Not yet. Rachel was 3 hours behind. It was too early to call. Besides, what would I say? Rachel hadn't been here. She didn't know how things worked between Jennifer and me. She'd probably tell me I was overreacting. I thought about calling my friend Dorothy. But Dorothy had moved to Florida 2 years ago. We sent Christmas cards. That was it. I thought about calling Tom's brother, Paul. But Paul was 80 and half deaf. He wouldn't understand. There was no one. Except maybe Emma. Emma used to come by every Sunday afternoon. We'd sit and talk. She'd tell me about school. About her friends. About the books she was reading. She was a quiet girl. Thoughtful. She noticed things other people didn't. But I hadn't seen her in weeks. I decided to text her. Jennifer had set up my phone so I could text. I wasn't very good at it. But I tried. Hi Emma, do you have time to visit today? I waited. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Hi Grandma, I can come over after school. Around 4? That would be wonderful. Thank you. I stared at the screen. Then I added, don't tell your mother. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Okay. Emma knocked on the door at 4:15. She was wearing jeans and an oversized sweater. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked tired. Or maybe worried. I couldn't tell. Hi, Grandma, she said. Hi, sweetheart. Come in. She sat on the couch. I made tea. Neither of us drank much of it. How's school? I asked. It's fine. How are your classes? Fine. We sat in silence. Emma looked at her hands. You wanted to talk to me, she said finally. About something. I nodded. I need to ask you something, I said. And I need you to be honest with me. She looked up. Has your mother said anything? About me? About money? Emma's face changed. Just for a second. A flicker of something. Guilt, maybe. Or fear. What do you mean? She asked. Anything about my finances. Or my health. Or when I'm going to die. The words hung in the air. Emma looked away. Emma, I said gently. Please. She bit her lip. She talks to Dad sometimes, she said quietly. When they think I'm not listening. About planning. About what happens when you're gone. What does she say? She says you're not going to be around much longer. That you're getting older. That it's better to handle things now. Before it's too late. My chest tightened. She said that? Emma nodded. And she talks about the house on Maple Drive. About how much it sold for. About the money you have. She has spreadsheets. She shows them to Dad. They talk about investments. About, I don't know, funds, accounts. What else? Emma hesitated. Last month, she told Dad they needed to move faster. That you were asking too many questions. That it was getting harder to keep track of everything. I closed my eyes. Emma, I said, why didn't you tell me? I didn't know if I should, she whispered. I thought maybe I was misunderstanding. Or maybe it was normal. I don't know how this stuff works. She looked at me. Her eyes were wet. Are you okay, Grandma? I reached over and took her hand. I will be, I said. After Emma left, I went through my filing cabinet. I keep everything. Tom used to tease me about it. Old tax returns, insurance policies, receipts for appliances we didn't own anymore. I can't throw anything away. I found the folder labeled legal documents. Inside were copies of Tom's will. Our old mortgage papers. The deed to the house on Maple Drive. And something else. A document dated June 10, 2022. Durable power of attorney. I read it slowly. It gave Jennifer full authority over my financial decisions. My medical decisions. My living arrangements. Everything. I didn't remember signing it. But there was my signature at the bottom. Shaky. Uneven. Like I'd been crying when I wrote it. Maybe I had been. There was a notary stamp. A witness signature. Jennifer's name in bold print at the top. It was legal, binding, and it meant Jennifer could do whatever she wanted. I put the paper down. I thought about the lunch. About the soup. About her smile when she said, "You won't need money in heaven." She'd been planning this for 3 years. Maybe longer. I didn't see Jennifer the next day. She usually came by in the morning. But Friday came and went. No knock on the door. No coffee brought over. No cheerful questions about how I slept. It was almost a relief. I spent the day organizing. I printed bank statements. I made lists. I highlighted transactions I didn't recognize. I found receipts for things I'd never bought. Invoices for services I'd never requested. A new HVAC system, installed last year. $23,000. I didn't have an HVAC system. I had a window unit Mark bought me. The HVAC system was in their house. I found more. Granite countertops. Hardwood flooring. A custom deck. All paid for with my money. All labeled as home improvements for my benefit. I sat on the floor surrounded by papers. And I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Anger. Not the hot, explosive kind. The cold, quiet kind. The kind that sharpens your mind instead of clouding it. Tom used to say I was too forgiving. That I let people walk over me. He was right. But Tom wasn't here anymore. And I was done being walked on. On Saturday morning, Jennifer finally came by. She knocked twice and let herself in with her spare key. She was carrying a bag from the bakery. She looked relaxed. Happy. "Morning, Mom," she said. "I brought muffins. Blueberry. Your favorite." She set the bag on the counter. I was sitting at the table with my laptop open. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Looking at my bank statements," I said. Her smile faltered. "Oh, why?" I wanted to see where my money was going. She laughed. "Too bright. Too quick. Mom, you don't need to worry about that. I'm handling it." "I know you are," I said. "That's what I'm looking at." Silence. She walked over to the table. She glanced at the screen. At the papers spread out beside the laptop. At the highlighted numbers. "What is this?" she asked. "I'm trying to understand some transactions," I said. "Like this HVAC system. $23,000. Installed last March." "That was for the apartment," she said quickly. "For your heating. I don't have an HVAC system." "Well, it's connected to the main house. It's all one unit now. But it benefits you too." "And the countertops?" $8,000. "Did those benefit me?" Her face changed. "Mom," she said slowly. "You're confused." "I'm not confused. You are. You don't understand how these things work. This is exactly why I'm managing everything. So you don't have to stress about it." "I'm not stressed," I said. "I'm asking questions." "Questions about what?" "About where $47,000 went in the last 6 months." The number hung in the air. Jennifer stared at me. Then she sat down. "Okay," she said. Her voice was calm, measured. "Let me explain. These aren't just random expenses. They're investments. For the family. For Emma's future. For your future. Everything I've done has been to protect you. By spending my money without asking? You gave me permission, Mom. You signed the papers. You said it was for paying bills. It is for paying bills. Big bills. Important bills. You wouldn't understand the details. That's why you trust me to handle it." She reached across the table. She put her hand on mine. "I'm your daughter," she said softly. "I love you. I would never do anything to hurt you." I looked at her perfectly styled hair, her expensive sweater, her manicured nails, and I pulled my hand away. "I want my spare key back," I said. Her face went pale. "What?" "The key to this apartment. I want it back." "Mom." "Now, Jennifer." She stood up. "You're being ridiculous." "Maybe," I said. "But it's my apartment. And I want my key." She stared at me for a long moment. Then she reached into her purse. She pulled out a key ring. She removed one key and set it on the table with a sharp click. "Fine," she said. "But you're making a mistake." "Probably," I said. She grabbed her purse and walked to the door. She stopped. Turned. "You're not thinking clearly, Mom. You're going to regret this." And then she was gone. I sat alone in the silence. I picked up the key. And I knew exactly what I had to do next. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. Monday morning, I got dressed in my best pants and a clean blouse. I put on the earrings Tom gave me for our 40th anniversary. I brushed my hair. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like someone who'd made a decision. Gregory Hale's office was downtown. 15-minute bus ride from Jennifer's neighborhood. I hadn't taken the bus in 3 years. Jennifer always drove me everywhere. She said it was easier. Safer. That I didn't need to bother with public transportation. But I'd ridden the bus for 30 years before Tom died. I knew the routes. I knew the stops. I still knew how to do things by myself. The bus was half empty. I sat near the front. An older man across from me was reading a newspaper. A young woman with headphones stood near the door. Nobody looked at me. Nobody cared where I was going. It felt like freedom. Gregory had been Tom's lawyer. He'd helped us write our wills. He'd handled the estate after Tom died. He was in his 60s. Soft-spoken. Careful with words. I'd called his office Friday afternoon after Jennifer left. The receptionist said he had an opening Monday at 10. "Is this regarding your late husband's estate?" she'd asked. "No," I'd said. "It's regarding my life." The office was on the 3rd floor of an old brick building. Dark wood paneling. Leather chairs. Shelves full of law books nobody probably read anymore. Gregory came out to meet me in the waiting room. "Mrs. Whitmore," he said. "It's good to see you. Thank you for making time." "Of course. Come on back." His office smelled like coffee and paper. He gestured to a chair across from his desk. I sat down. He poured me a glass of water from a pitcher on the side table. "So," he said, settling into his chair. "What can I do for you?" I pulled the folder from my bag. The one with all the documents. All the highlighted bank statements. All the notes I'd written. I set it on his desk. "I need you to help me fix a mistake," I said. He opened the folder. He started reading. I waited. After a few minutes, he looked up. "Tell me everything," he said. So I did. I talked for 30 minutes. I told him about moving into the apartment. About signing papers I didn't fully understand. About Jennifer taking over my finances. About the transactions. The HVAC system. The countertops. The investments I never approved. I told him about the lunch. About what Emma had said. About the power of attorney document I'd found. Gregory listened. He took notes. He asked questions. "Do you have the original POA document?" he asked. I pulled it from the folder. He read it. His expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened. This is a broad, durable power of attorney, he said. It gives your daughter authority over nearly every aspect of your life. Financial, medical, residential. Can I cancel it? Yes. As long as you're mentally competent, which you clearly are, you can revoke it at any time. How? We draft a formal revocation. You sign it. We file it with the county. We send copies to anyone who might have relied on the original document. Your bank, your doctors, anyone else Jennifer might have presented this to. I felt something loosen in my chest. Can we do that today? We can start, he said. But there's more we need to address. He pulled out a legal pad. We need to secure your bank accounts. Remove Jennifer's access immediately. Set up new accounts if necessary. We also need to review any other legal documents you might have signed. Medical directives. Healthcare proxies. Do you have a will? Yes. Tom and I wrote one together. Years ago. Do you know if Jennifer has a copy? I nodded. She does. We should update it, Gregory said. Make sure your wishes are clear. And make sure Jennifer isn't listed as executor. I hadn't thought about that. Who should be? I asked. Someone you trust. Someone who won't have a conflict of interest. Do you have anyone like that? I thought about Emma, but she was 17, too young. I thought about Rachel, but she was too far away. I don't know, I said. Gregory nodded slowly. We can name a professional executor. A trust company. Or we can leave it open for now and revisit it later. Okay. He made more notes. This is going to take some time, he said. We'll start with the revocation. Then we'll contact your bank. Then we'll work on the rest. Are you prepared for Jennifer to push back? Yes. She may threaten legal action. She may claim you're not competent to make these decisions. She may try to have you declared unfit. The words hit me like cold water. Can she do that? She can try, Gregory said. But she won't succeed. You're lucid. You understand what's happening. You're taking steps to protect yourself. That's the opposite of incompetence. He leaned forward. Mrs. Whitmore, I need to ask you something. Are you safe? What do you mean? Are you living in a situation where you feel threatened? Coerced? Unsafe? I thought about the apartment. About Jennifer's key. About the way she'd looked at me Saturday morning. I don't think she'll hurt me, I said. But I don't trust her anymore. That's enough, Gregory said. We'll move as quickly as we can. By noon, I'd signed a revocation of the power of attorney. Gregory made copies. He sent one to the county clerk. He sent one to my bank. He kept one for his files. He gave me one to keep. This is effective immediately, he said. Jennifer no longer has legal authority over your finances or your health care. I stared at the paper in my hands. My signature. My name. My decision. What happens now? I asked. Now we wait for Jennifer to find out. I took the bus back to the apartment. It was almost 1 o'clock. Jennifer usually came by around noon. I half expected her to be waiting outside the door. But the apartment was empty. I locked the door behind me. I put the folder on the table. I sat down. And I waited. She came at 3:30. I heard her footsteps on the walkway. I heard her try the door. It was locked. She knocked. Mom? I didn't answer. Mom, I know you're in there. I saw the light on. I walked to the door. I didn't open it. What do you want, Jennifer? I want to talk. We talked Saturday. I know. But I think we both said things we didn't mean. I want to clear the air. I unlocked the door. I opened it 6 inches. I didn't invite her in. She looked surprised, then annoyed. Can I come in? No. Mom, come on. Don't be like this. Like what? Stubborn. Unreasonable. I almost laughed. I'm not being unreasonable, I said. I'm setting a boundary. A boundary? She shook her head. You've been talking to someone, haven't you? Who was it? Rachel? One of your church friends? Does it matter? Yes, it matters. Because someone is putting ideas in your head. Making you think I'm some kind of villain. I'm your daughter. I've been taking care of you. You've been spending my money. Her face went hard. I've been investing your money. There's a difference. Not to me. She crossed her arms. Fine, she said. You want to do this? Let's do this. You signed those papers, Mom. You gave me authority. You can't just take it back. Actually, I said, I can. I held up the revocation document. She stared at it. What is that? It's a legal revocation of the power of attorney. Signed this morning. Filed with the county. Your access to my accounts has been terminated. Her face went white. You went to a lawyer? Yes. Without telling me? I don't need your permission. She grabbed for the paper. I pulled it back. Mom, you don't understand what you're doing. You need me. You can't handle this stuff on your own. I'm handling it right now. No, you're making a mistake. A huge mistake. And when you realize it, I'm not going to be there to fix it. Good, I said. She stared at me. Then she turned and walked away. I closed the door. I locked it. I stood there for a long time. And then I went to the filing cabinet. Because Gregory had said something that stuck with me. Medical directives. Healthcare proxies. I needed to know what else I'd signed. It took an hour to go through everything. Most of it was what I expected. Old insurance papers. Tax returns. Receipts. But at the bottom of the drawer, I found another folder. It was labeled Healthcare Documents. Inside was a medical power of attorney. Signed 2 years ago. Giving Jennifer full authority to make healthcare decisions on my behalf. Including end-of-life care. There was also a document titled Residential Care Agreement. I read it slowly. It was a pre-signed authorization for Jennifer to move me into a long-term care facility if she deemed it necessary. No second opinion required. No input from me needed. I felt sick. She'd been planning this for years. Not just taking my money. Taking my choices. All of them. I called Gregory. I found more documents, I said. What kind? I told him. He was quiet for a moment. Bring them to my office tomorrow morning, he said. We'll revoke those too. Can she really do this? Put me in a home without my permission? Not anymore, Gregory said. Not after we revoke these documents. But Eleanor, I need you to think about something. What? Do you feel safe staying where you are? I looked around the apartment. At the walls. At the window that looked out onto Jennifer's backyard. At the life I'd been living for 3 years. No, I said. I don't. Then we need to talk about other options. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. I thought about Jennifer. About the papers. About how long she'd been planning this. I thought about Tom. About what he would say if he were here. He'd probably tell me to stand up. To fight back. So that's what I was going to do. But first, I needed to get out of this apartment. I needed to find somewhere safe. Somewhere Jennifer couldn't reach me. And I needed to do it before she realized I was serious. I started packing at dawn. Not everything. Just what mattered. Clothes. Photos. Tom's watch. My mother's ring. The folder with all the legal documents. I worked quietly. Quickly. I didn't have much time. Emma was coming at 8. She'd borrowed her friend's car. She didn't tell her mother where she was going. Neither did I. Gregory had made calls. There was a senior living community 20 minutes away. Independent cottages. Month-to-month lease. No long-term commitment. They had one available immediately. I'd seen it yesterday. Small. Clean. 1 bedroom. A kitchenette. A front door that locked from the inside. A front door only I would have the key to. I signed the lease Tuesday afternoon. I paid the deposit with money I'd moved to a new account. An account Jennifer didn't know about. The cottage was mine as of Wednesday morning. Today was Wednesday. I heard Jennifer's car pull into the driveway at 7:30. She wasn't supposed to be here this early. My stomach dropped. I shoved the last of my clothes into a suitcase. I closed it. I pushed it under the bed. Footsteps on the walkway. A key in the lock. But the lock didn't turn. I'd changed it Tuesday night. Gregory had sent someone over. A locksmith. 20 minutes. Done. Jennifer knocked. Mom? I didn't answer. Mom, open the door. I stayed quiet. I know you're in there. Your light is on. Open the door. I walked to the window. I looked out. Jennifer was standing at the door. Mark was behind her. He was holding something. A folder. Papers. My chest tightened. Mom, Jennifer called. We need to talk. It's important. I didn't move. She knocked again. Harder. If you don't open this door, I'm calling the police. I'm worried about you. I think you're having a mental health crisis. My hands went cold. She wouldn't. She would. I opened the door. Jennifer pushed past me. Mark followed. He closed the door behind them. What are you doing here? I asked. We got a call from the bank, Jennifer said. She was breathing hard. Angry. They said you closed the joint accounts. They said you opened new ones. Without telling me. I don't have to tell you. Yes, you do. I'm your financial guardian. Not anymore. Her face twisted. You can't just revoke a power of attorney because you're mad at me. That's not how it works. Actually, it is. Mark stepped forward. Mrs. Whitmore, he said. His voice was calm, measured. We're concerned about you. You're making decisions that don't make sense. Rash decisions. Emotional decisions. I'm making my own decisions. Without consulting anyone, Jennifer said. Without asking for advice. That's not rational behavior. I consulted a lawyer. A lawyer who told you what you wanted to hear. A lawyer who told me the truth. Jennifer laughed. Sharp. Bitter. The truth? You want the truth, Mom? The truth is you're 72 years old. You can barely work a smartphone. You haven't paid a bill in 3 years. You don't know how taxes work. You don't know how investments work. You need help. I don't need you stealing from me. She flinched. I never stole anything. $47,000 in 6 months. For renovations on your house. Our house. The house you live behind. The house that keeps you safe. That money was invested in your care. I didn't ask for that care. You didn't have to. That's what family does. I looked at Mark. He was watching me, calculating. What's in the folder? I asked. He glanced at Jennifer. She nodded. He opened it. We've been documenting some concerning behaviors, he said. Memory lapses. Confusion. Paranoia. We've spoken to your doctor. We have statements from neighbors. We're filing a petition to have you declared mentally incompetent. The room tilted. You're lying. We're protecting you, Jennifer said. From yourself. You can't do this. We already did. The hearing is scheduled for next month. Until then, we're asking the court to grant emergency guardianship. To keep you safe. I felt my knees weaken. I'm not incompetent. Then why are you acting like this? Jennifer's voice cracked. Why are you pushing me away? I'm your daughter. I love you. You love my money. She went white. How dare you? It's true. It's not. Everything I've done has been for you. For your future. For your security. And this is how you thank me? I didn't ask for any of it. You didn't have to. You were grieving. You were lost. I stepped in. I took care of you. And now you're accusing me of what? Elder abuse? The words hung in the air. Yes, I said. Jennifer stared at me. Then she started crying. Not soft tears. Big, heaving sobs. I can't believe you're saying this. I can't believe you think this about me. I'm your daughter. Mark put his arm around her. You're being manipulated, Mrs. Whitmore, he said quietly. By people who don't have your best interests at heart. We're trying to help you see that. Get out, I said. Mom, get out of my apartment. This isn't your apartment, Jennifer said through her tears. It's ours. We own this property. You're living here because we allow it. The words hit me like a slap. What? The deed, Mark said. It's in our name. Has been since you moved in. You signed it over as part of the estate planning. Don't you remember? I didn't remember. I didn't remember any of that. That's not true. It is, Jennifer said. She wiped her eyes. I'll show you the paperwork if you don't believe me. She pulled out her phone. She scrolled. She shoved it in my face. A scanned document. A deed. My signature at the bottom. Dated July 2022. You said it was for taxes, I whispered. It was. Estate taxes. To protect your assets. To make sure everything stayed in the family. You lied to me. I simplified it. Because you didn't understand. I understood enough. Jennifer pocketed her phone. You need to stop this, Mom. Stop fighting me. Stop acting like I'm the enemy. I'm not. I'm trying to save you from making a huge mistake. The mistake was trusting you. Her face hardened. Fine, she said. If that's how you feel, then you need to leave. What? You heard me. If you don't want my help, if you don't want to live under my roof, then leave. Today. Jennifer, Mark started. No, she said. I'm done. I've tried everything. I've bent over backward. And she treats me like a criminal. I'm done. She turned to me. You have until tonight to pack your things and go. If you're still here tomorrow morning, I'm calling the police and having you removed for trespassing. I couldn't breathe. You can't do that. Yes, I can. It's my property. You just said you don't trust me. So leave. She grabbed Mark's arm. Let's go. They walked to the door. Jennifer stopped. She looked back at me. I hope you're happy, Mom. I hope whatever you think you're getting out of this is worth it. And then they were gone. I stood in the middle of the apartment. I couldn't move. I couldn't think. The deed. The property. The apartment I thought was mine. None of it was mine. Nothing was mine. Everything I'd thought I had was hers. I sank onto the couch. I thought about calling Gregory. But what could he do? If she owned the property, she could evict me. That was legal. I thought about calling Rachel. But Rachel was 3,000 miles away. And even if she came, what could she do? I thought about calling the police. But what would I say? My daughter owns the place I'm living and wants me to leave? That wasn't a crime. It was just cruel. At 7:55, Emma knocked on the door. I'd forgotten she was coming. I opened it. She took one look at my face. What happened? I told her. All of it. She listened. Her face went pale. She can't do this, Emma said. She can. She owns the apartment. That's insane. It's legal. Emma paced the small living room. Okay, she said. Okay. We stick to the plan. We get you out of here. Today. Right now. She said I have until tonight. We're not waiting until tonight. She grabbed my suitcase from under the bed. She grabbed the bags I'd already packed. She carried them to the car. I stood at the door. I looked around the apartment. 400 square feet. 3 years of my life. I thought it had been temporary. I thought it had been mine. I'd been wrong about everything. Emma drove. I sat in the passenger seat and watched Jennifer's house disappear in the rearview mirror. Are you okay? Emma asked. No, you will be. I looked at her. 17 years old. Skipping school to help her grandmother escape. Why are you doing this? I asked. Because you're my grandma, she said. And she's wrong. She's your mother. I know. She's going to be angry at you. I don't care. She gripped the steering wheel tighter. I heard them talking last night, she said. After they got the call from the bank. They were furious. They were planning this. The incompetency petition. The eviction. All of it. You should have told me. I'm telling you now. We drove in silence for a while. Grandma? Emma said. Yes? I'm proud of you. My throat tightened. For what? For fighting back. I looked out the window. At the trees. At the sky. At the road stretching ahead. I'm not done fighting, I said. Good, Emma said. And we kept driving. The cottage smelled like nothing. That was the first thing I noticed. Not like Jennifer's potpourri. Not like Tom's aftershave. Not like the apartment that had trapped 3 years of my grief inside 400 square feet. Just clean air, neutral paint, empty space waiting to be filled. I stood in the doorway with my 2 suitcases and thought, this is mine. Really mine. Emma helped me unpack. We didn't talk much. We moved through the rooms in quiet rhythm. Clothes in the closet. Toiletries in the bathroom. Photos on the dresser. Tom's watch went in the nightstand drawer. My mother's ring stayed on my finger. The legal documents went into a locked box Gregory had given me. You should rest, Emma said when we finished. You've had a long day. I've had a long 3 years. She smiled. Sad. Tired. Yeah. Will you be okay? I asked. At home? With your mother? Emma shrugged. She's barely talking to me. Dad tries to play peacemaker. It's fine. I'm used to it. You shouldn't have to be used to it. Probably not, she said. But it's only 1 more year until college. Then I'm gone. She picked up her keys. I'll come visit this weekend. If that's okay. It's more than okay. She hugged me at the door. Held on longer than usual. I'm glad you're here, Grandma. Me too. And then she was gone. I locked the door behind her. I stood in the silence. And I cried. Not the panicked tears from this morning. Not the angry tears from the past week. Just quiet, tired tears. For the daughter I thought I had. For the trust I'd lost. For the version of myself who'd signed those papers and believed the lies. I cried until I had nothing left. And then I made myself a cup of tea and sat by the window. The sun was setting. The sky was pink and gold. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barked. I was 72 years old. I was starting over. And I was going to be okay. The first week was strange. I woke up every morning expecting to hear Jennifer's footsteps. Expecting the knock on the door. Expecting her voice asking if I'd slept well. But there was only silence. Good silence. The kind that belongs to you. I made my own coffee. I walked to the small grocery store 3 blocks away. I bought what I wanted. I cooked what I felt like eating. I called Gregory twice. Once to update my will. Once to ask about the incompetency petition. I filed a response, he said. With supporting documentation, character references, medical records. You're not incompetent, Eleanor. Not even close. This won't go anywhere. Are you sure? I'm sure. Jennifer's case is built on emotion and financial motivation. The court will see through it. I hoped he was right. On Wednesday afternoon, there was a knock on my door. I froze. But when I looked through the window, it wasn't Jennifer. It was a woman about my age. Short gray hair. Kind face. She was holding a plate covered in foil. I opened the door. "Hi," she said. "I'm Beatrice. I live 2 cottages down. I wanted to welcome you to the neighborhood." She held out the plate. "Lemon bars. I hope you're not allergic." "No," I said. "Thank you. That's very kind." "We have a little group," Beatrice said. "A few of us meet Wednesday afternoons. Just tea and conversation. Nothing fancy. You're welcome to join us if you'd like." "I'd like that." "Great. We meet at my place. Number 12. 3 o'clock. She smiled and walked away. I stood holding the plate of lemon bars. I hadn't been invited to anything in 3 years. Wednesday at 3, I knocked on Beatrice's door. There were 5 women inside. All around my age. Maybe older. They sat in a circle in Beatrice's small living room. Teacups balanced on their laps. They introduced themselves. "Helen. Margaret. Donna. Ruth. We were just talking about the new community garden," Beatrice said. "The city approved it. They're breaking ground next month." "I used to garden," I said. "Before my husband died." "Then you should sign up for a plot," Helen said. "It's good for the soul." We talked for an hour. About gardens. About books. About the news. About nothing important and everything important. Nobody asked why I was there. Nobody asked about my family. Nobody treated me like I was fragile or confused or broken. They just treated me like a person. When I left, Beatrice walked me to the door. "Thank you," I said. "For what?" "For this. For inviting me." She squeezed my hand. "We all need somewhere to belong," she said. "Glad you found us." Jennifer called 2 weeks later. I almost didn't answer. But I did. "Mom," she said. Her voice was tight. Controlled. "We need to talk." "I don't think we do. I've been thinking about everything. About what happened. I overreacted. I was hurt. I said things I didn't mean." "You meant them." Silence. "Can we meet?" she asked. "Just coffee. Just to talk." "No. Mom, please. I'm your daughter. You can't just cut me out of your life." "You cut yourself out," I said. "When you decided my life was yours to manage. I was trying to help. You were trying to control." Her voice shifted. Harder now. "Fine. If that's how you want to play this, then fine. But you should know that Emma's been lying to you. Feeding you stories. Turning you against me. Emma told me the truth. Emma's a child. She doesn't understand what's really happening. She understands better than you think." Jennifer laughed. Bitter. You always liked her more than me anyway. That's not true. It is. You've always taken everyone else's side. Dad's. Rachel's. Now Emma's. Never mine. I closed my eyes. Jennifer, I said quietly. I love you. I will always love you. But I don't trust you anymore. And I can't have you in my life right now. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. I hung up. I turned off my phone. And I didn't turn it back on for 2 days. Gregory called with an update a month later. The incompetency petition was dismissed, he said. The judge didn't even require a hearing. He said there was insufficient evidence. I let out a breath I didn't know I'd been holding. What about the money? I asked. The money she took? That's trickier, Gregory said. You gave her legal authority. She can argue every transaction was authorized. We could pursue it, but it would be expensive. And messy. So she just gets away with it? Not exactly. We've secured everything going forward. She can't touch your accounts anymore. She can't make decisions for you anymore. And when you pass, which won't be for a long time, your assets will go to Emma, not Jennifer. That's a kind of justice. It wasn't the justice I wanted. But it was the justice I could live with. Spring came slowly. I signed up for a plot in the community garden. I planted tomatoes, basil, marigolds. Emma visited every Sunday. We'd sit on my small porch and drink lemonade and talk about nothing and everything. She told me about college applications, about friends she liked, about arguments with her mother. I listened. I didn't give advice unless she asked. Mostly I just let her know she wasn't alone. One afternoon in May, I sat down and wrote a letter. Not to Jennifer. Not to Rachel. Not to anyone specific. To whoever might need it. Dear friend, if you're reading this, maybe you're where I was. Maybe someone you love is taking more than they should. Maybe you signed papers you didn't understand. Maybe you're living in a place that isn't really yours. Maybe you're afraid to speak up because their family and family is supposed to love you. Here's what I learned: love and control are not the same thing. Someone who loves you wants you to have choices. Someone who controls you takes those choices away. Even if they do it kindly. Even if they do it with a smile. It took me 3 years to see the difference. Don't wait as long as I did. You're not too old. You're not too confused. You're not too dependent. You're a person. You have rights. You have a voice. Use it. Find a lawyer. Find a friend. Find someone who will listen and believe you. And then take your life back. One signature at a time. It won't be easy. It might cost you relationships. It might cost you comfort. But it will give you something more important. It will give you yourself. Sincerely, someone who survived. I folded the letter and put it in my desk drawer. Maybe someday I'd give it to someone who needed it. Maybe I'd just keep it as a reminder. Either way, it was written. And that was enough. I still think about Jennifer sometimes. I wonder if she knows what she did. If she understands. If she ever thinks about the mother she had before she decided that mother needed saving. I wonder if she misses me. I wonder if I miss her. The truth is, I miss the daughter I thought I had. The one who brought me soup and helped me through grief and wanted what was best for me. But I don't miss the woman who lied. Who stole. Who tried to erase me. That's not love. That's something else entirely. It's been 6 months since I moved to the cottage. I'm still here. Still standing. Still making my own decisions. I planted bulbs in October. They'll bloom in spring. I won't be around to see them, probably. But I like knowing they're coming. I have tea with Beatrice and the others every Wednesday. I talk to Emma every Sunday. I see Gregory once a month to review my accounts and make sure everything's secure. I'm not rich. I'm not powerful. I'm not special. But I'm free. And at 72, that's the best gift I could ask for. If you're listening to this and you recognize yourself in my story, please know you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're human. And you deserve to live your life on your terms. Not someone else's, even if that someone is family. Especially if that someone is family. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps someone out there who needs to hear it. If this story touched your heart, or if you know someone who might benefit from hearing it, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to Soul Script Radio. Please hit that like button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future stories. Your support means the world and helps me continue sharing these important messages with people who need them. Take care of yourselves. And remember, as long as you're breathing, it's not too late to start again.